Call the meeting to order. Please stand and say Pledge Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do you have any announcements this evening?
No announcements.
Any to make up? No. Taylor, 2 more months of meetings here?
Not with me.
No?
Not with me.
No. Public to be heard on agenda items only. Okay, we have 2 action items this evening before we jump into presentations. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion second, any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're going to have some recognition of some of our athletic organizations. So, Mr. McDaniel.
Thank you, Mr. DeBella. Once again, it's always great to be back here. We have the opportunity to recognize some special young ladies and young men. Tonight, we have a conglomerate of people here for you from the middle school. And our middle school athletic programs are those teams who went undefeated. And when these young ladies and young gentlemen are up here tonight, these young ladies and young gentlemen were you at some point. And through their hard work and dedication, they became champions. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, when you're watching those young people come up here tonight, you know, you're going to be looking at future champions. So we would like to recognize all of our middle school undefeated sport teams, and we're going to ask them all to come up at one time. Well, there's a lot of crossovers with sport. So I'm going to ask you, when I ask you to come up as a team first. 7th grade boys soccer, come on up. That's, yeah. Very. Okay, so this is our 14-0 7th grade boys soccer team. Coach Frame, where's he at? He's right there. Okay, and there's Coach. So it's a 14-0 boys soccer team. Coach Kissel's in the audience tonight. Coach, you have a lot coming your way in high school soccer. All right, let's give him a big round of applause. Now, next would be our boys and girls cross country team. Any member of our boys and girls cross country team, please come to the center. Any of you guys cross country? No, you couldn't have been. Soccer, yeah. All right, boys and girls cross country, come on up. I know there's a couple of you out there. Gentlemen, move them back, all the way back. Our boys and girls cross country teams, we're both 7-0 this year, and Coach Racich has done a fantastic job. That is one thing that's, for us, we're losing Coach Racich at the end of this year as he's retiring after 40 years of teaching and coaching. He has been has had a phenomenal impact in our sport programs, our middle school athletic programs, and also our athletes. So we'd like to congratulate him on his retirement. We'd like to congratulate our boys and girls cross country teams at 7-0. Congratulations. Any members of our 8th grade football team here this evening? Ladies. but you see how well they listen to instruction. That's why they're 7-0 in the year. But seventh grade football under Coach Chad Strickler done a great job year in, year out. Our eighth grade program is phenomenal, and we're going to see these young men come along to the high school in a couple years. Congratulations, gentlemen. I'd like to bring both up our seventh grade and eighth grade boys basketball teams. This back row, everyone, just take a step back. JT's man, he's taking it to heart, line and everybody. Seventh grade. If you're in the seventh grade team, just take a step forward. These young men were 14-0. 14-0 this year. Or you can step back. Eighth grade members, please step forward. This group, 15-0, a combined 29-0 at the middle school level. Coach Talley, I know sitting back there, you got some players coming, Coach. All right, congratulations, boys. Young men. Seventh and eighth grade, boys and girls track. Any members here this evening? Okay, there we go. Our track team, once again coached by Mr. Rasich, season 5-0, and I'm not really sure when the last time we lost a meet in middle school. It's been a long time. And every year, year in, year out, they do a great job. So congratulations, gentlemen. And our seventh grade softball team. Last one. And then we're going to bring the champs in front of them. Come on. I believe their whole team's here. Very good. The girls finished the year at 9-0-1. Now, I did talk to them about the tie. Now, how do we get a tie in softball? Here is the response. But when we played them again, we beat them. So that's all that matters. Great job, ladies. Fantastic effort. Coach Dan Hoff he's not here now. Don't even dismiss me. Yeah, I'm going to have them stand with high school kids.
Okay. I just want, which one's on? This on? I just wanted to say, if I instead of behind the table, you wouldn't see me, so I had to run up here. But a couple years ago, we started doing this, recognizing the middle school teams that had undefeated seasons. Unfortunately, they don't win trophies, but this is the recognition that we want to give these students. The first year that we did this, I think we recognized there was one team. And I think the year after that, there might have been one or two teams. But from the time that we start recognizing the middle school for their accomplishments and their undefeated seasons, this is what it's turning into. So once again, this is the success that we're seeing here at Springford. So we should be proud of these kids and the accomplishments that they have of having undefeated seasons. And we look forward to them getting into high school and continuing that undefeated seasons. So coaches, high school coaches, where are you? No excuses, right? They all went out the back door. So again, one big round of applause for this accomplishments.
Now, I want you all to stay there because I want to bring in our 4x8 boys and 4x8 girl relay teams. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. Oops. Tonight, we're going to recognize our track champions from in the PAC championships that were in May. And tonight, they will receive a resolution for their accomplishment. Both our Pac-10 champions this year were 4x8 relays, boys and girls. Our girls, and I'm going to ask them to step forward, and I'm going to ask them, see, this is what, when you get older, this is what you have to do. I'm going to ask them to step forward and announce their name real loud to the public who they are. Go ahead, ladies. It's a great group of young ladies. They ran a 9-minute 42.42 relay time to win the PAC championship, and then they went on to districts and advanced to the states as well. So congratulations to those young ladies. Ladies, you may step back. Gentlemen, if you please step forward and follow the lead of the young ladies and announce your name. Okay. To win the PAC championship, they ran a time of 7 minutes, 56.11 seconds, and advanced to districts. By the way, JT was our host up here, getting everybody squared away. Great job. You have a future in event supervision, JT. But congratulations to the gentlemen for their championship. The coaches, if they could step forward and announce your name as well. By the way, if you don't know Heather, she has some records here when she ran with us and then ran at Riders. Done a fantastic job and doing a great job in the coaching as well. So what you see, ladies again and gentlemen again, is we have the young and we have the little bit older group, okay? But this is the foundation that's standing behind that group. That's why I had them stay up here, because they are the foundation, stays with them and keeps building up the program. And these young ladies and young gentlemen out in the front row, we appreciate all you've done. For those underclassmen coming back, we can't wait. For the seniors, we look forward to your success in college, not just in your athletic careers, but your academic careers as well. So did you want any pictures or anything? Okay. High school, please move out. Here you go. Julia. Do you have the boy? Okay. Come on. JT store. Good job, JT. Always stay there. We have some pictures with parents. I did. Now, Aaron, do you want them to all leave and then do these two groups? Okay. Well, you tell me. Or do you want them to stay there? Okay, we'll get them out. Yeah, we can bring them. We're going to dismiss them and get them done. Okay? All right, here's probably what you're wanting to hear the most. You are dismissed to go home. All right, go ahead, Aaron. Aaron, go ahead. Stay there.
Quick resolution pose.
All right, next presentation, Ms. Havila. Are we here? There you are.
That was overwhelming. That was very nice. Say good evening, Dr. Gooden, Mr. DeBello, Board of Directors and community. Evans Elementary is pleased to be able to share with you our journey in building a culture of literacy. When we opened in 2007, 10 years ago, it's hard to believe, we had a vision of creating a school where not only did students learn all subjects, but where the students were excited about literacy. I would like to introduce Mr. John Raber, our Evans reading specialist, who with Jacob Henson, grade 4, Alexa Henson, grade 1, and Connor Russo in grade 1, will show you the journey Evans took in building our culture of literacy. John?
Thank you, Mrs. Havrilla, and thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. When Mrs. Havrilla met with me and we talked about what we wanted to present tonight, it was hard just to isolate one area of literacy that we do because, as Mrs. Havrilla said, it's been 10 years in the making. So we took this diagram and we thought, well, we really focused it among our staff, our students, and the community, and how they work separately but in together to build the culture of literacy that we've been trying to do at Evans Elementary. I'm briefly going to talk about the staff. This is a district-wide expectations for literacy, the 120 minutes of the English Language Arts block. We have the balanced literacy approach. Daily guided reading is a huge component and an expectation of the district and of Mrs. Havrilla. As a matter of fact, teachers know that if she does a walkthrough, you need to be prepared to have your guided reading lesson plans available to her. It's extremely important. And then when I was meeting with some of the students that are here tonight, they reminded me, Mr. Raber, don't forget that we do silent sustained reading. We have free read and we have opportunities for DEAR time, which is drop everything and read. So those were the students' input in tonight's presentation. The other piece I just want to touch on briefly is something I'm really proud about. It's RTII, which is target time. This is also district-wide. It's implemented differently in every building, but at Evans we kind of have a truer model where we use universal screenings with all the students. We provide an additional half hour of reading instruction beyond that 120-minute ELA block. And we look at students based on benchmark, strategic, and intensive level of need. If they're meeting grade level expectations, we put them in benchmark and they can work with other peers who have similar instructional needs. Similar with strategic and intensive, but we make the group smaller so we can really target their academic needs. And of course, we have data meetings and progress monitoring to make sure that the students' needs are being met and that we're constantly looking at challenging our students. One of the neat things that I think Mrs. Havrilla has implemented over the years is making sure that the staff appreciates literacy professionally. So we've had after-school book clubs where we read as a staff volunteer basis, A Fair Isn't Always Equal, which is a great book about differentiation. This year she did a professional learning network where we were blogging and staff could pick one of the bottom 5 books presented here. Of course, I picked Hacking Literacy, but there was a book for everybody. So each staff member got to pick a book to read and then blog about it, and we were given some professional time during staff meetings also to talk about these books. And just aside, we do have a staff of readers. We also have in one of our instructional rooms, we have a give a book, take a book. So it's something that is dear to my heart, literacy, but it's also part of our whole staff, that they are readers as well as making our students readers. What I really want to talk about tonight is focusing on building that culture with our students. Reading incentives, the popularity of reading incentives come and go. We've tried many different things over the years. We've been involved with the Pizza Hut Book It program. We did Reading with the Philadelphia Soul, Six Flags Read to Succeed. We have a great relationship with Limerick Bowl. They provide Booksmarks where students, after they read so many books, can go play a free game of bowling. This year we tried something different. We sent reading logs home with students, and it took us, I think it was Jake will probably correct me, 22 weeks, 21 weeks to read 1,000,000 minutes. It should, but I can't read that well, Jacob. It's a little small for me. The students took home, they just counted their minutes, then they brought them back in, and we would add up the entire building each week, how many minutes were read. And on average, we were doing about 40,000 to 50,000 minutes per week. And that was an at-home challenge because we really wanted to promote the literacy at home and reading at home with your family. Since we opened the building, we've always had Read to the Principal. We always try to tie it in with the school theme. This year, our school theme was Reach for the Stars. So this year, we encouraged students to be a star, which were students talking and reading with Mrs. Havrilla. And I believe this might be our video clip.
What are you going to read there for us?
Is it okay if I just read one chapter?
And how long is one chapter?
Chapter 1, Hatching a Plan. You will know what their plan is once I start to read. Hey, look out behind you. What, isn't there a skeleton? No, sorry, it's just a rabbit. Blank. You really got exact for a second, TH. Scram, Bunny, I need my beauty sleep.
After students read, they get their picture taken with their book and Mrs. Havrilla, and that gets displayed in our lobby. We noticed a theme with our students that they do like the recognition of practicing their reading skills. Another great program we have, and I really have to thank a Springford parent, PJ Gall. She is our read coordinator, reading education assistant dogs. She contacted us back in 2011, and she has a therapy dog, and she runs this program. She says, I'd really like to bring dogs into your school. We met with Mrs. Havrilla, who has famously had many dogs of her own. She has 3 right now. She says, of course, whatever we can do to promote literacy. This has been a huge success, and I have, there we go, Alexa Henson. I think we jumped ahead a little bit. Here we go. So I'm going to invite Alexa Henson to come up and share her thoughts.
My name is Alexa Henson, and I am a first grade student. I like their book reviews and Read to the Dogs. I had to put a Good Choice ticket in a bin next to Mr. Raber's room. On Thursday, Mr. Raber would pick randomly a Good Choice ticket out of the bin. Then you would get to read to the dogs on Friday. I liked reading stories to the dogs that I didn't know before. The dogs are friendly and listen to the stories. The dogs are very cute too.
Another thing that we had the students involved with, and I have to thank Mrs. Cooper, she's a 4th grade teacher of ours. She started a random act of kindness club. that could be a whole presentation unto itself. But one of the things that her volunteer students did was do a RAC Club readers where they went to the classroom and read to the students, and of course it tied in about kindness. And also Evans has participated in Reading Olympics since we opened the building, and I'd like to invite Jacob Henson up to talk about those things. Jacob?
Thank you, Mr. Raber. My name is Jacob Henson, and I am a fourth grade student. I liked being a RAC Club reader, and I liked participating in Reading Olympics. For RAC Club, a few other students and I went around to different classrooms in the younger grades during the Great Kindness Challenge week and the day before PSSAs to read kindness books. I enjoyed this because not only do I enjoy reading and reading to other people, but I also find it rewarding and fun to perform a kind deed. I also enjoyed Reading Olympics. During the Reading Olympics, you go to school early once a week to meet with your coach, exchange books, discuss the books, and read. There is an assigned date to have the Reading Olympics competition with other schools' teams. At the competition, the moderator asks 40 questions at each round about the stories you've read, and the teams answer the questions to earn points. At the end of the competition, teams earned ribbons based on the number of questions answered correctly. This year, all of the Evans teams earned blue ribbons. I enjoyed this because I liked to read, and it was fun to work with my team to answer questions about the stories.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, once students know that they could be recognized for their work in literacy, we had great success. So one of the things we started this year was doing book reviews. And again, tying into Reach for the Stars, the theme, we said Read for the Stars. So we challenged our students, hey, why don't you read a book and do a book review? As a matter of fact, we brought one of the displays and hung it up behind the school board there. So if you're looking for a good read, we have some great recommendations behind you. And I'd like to invite Connor Russo up to talk about that.
My name is Connor Rousseau, and I am a first grade student. I like the book reviews because I could share some of my favorite books with the whole school. First, I read a book. Then, I got a book review from Mr. Raber's office. I drew a picture and wrote why I liked the book. Then I handed it in to Mr. Raber. The next day, I would go on the morning announcements to talk about my book review. Then my book review got hung up on the wall by the gym so everyone could see my review.
You did awesome. I think Connor has broken the record for number of reviews. And as a matter of fact, I have to meet with him tomorrow to hang up another review in the hallway. He asked me this evening. We have another video that we'd like to share, and you may recognize
Morning, Evans
students.
Elementary. It's Mr. Raber here. How are you? Good. I wanted to emphasize that I am looking for book recommendations on our book display, Read for the Books, Read for the Stars. And I have two friends who actually read some books and wrote a book review. This is, can I have your name, young man?
Jacob Henson.
Jacob Henson. And can I have your name, young lady?
Alexa Henson.
Alexa Henson. Hey, you have the same last name.
Yeah, we do.
That's crazy. Do you know each other?
Yeah, we're brother and sister.
No.
Yeah.
Really? Are you making that up?
No.
No. So, Jake, you read this book. What's the title of your book?
Wonder.
Wonder. And may I call you Allie? That's all right, I'll call you Alexa. Allie. What's the title of your book?
We're all wonders.
We're All Wonders. So you read this book. Hold your book. And you read this book.
Yes.
And do you recommend this book?
Yes.
Yes. Now, why do you recommend this book?
Well, I personally think it's a great story about how even though we're all different, we're all the same inside. You're all great people.
We are all great people. That is a great message. I did read that book. I agree with Jake. I recommend that you read it, and I think we are all great people, even though we're different and the same. Yeah. Alexa, you read this book, We're All Wonders, and I noticed the picture looks similar. Can you tell me why?
Because they're both wonder books and illustrated by the same author. And I like this book because it teaches you a very important lesson about each other.
That is awesome. I have not read that book, but because you recommended it, I'm going to read it. And I hope you boys and girls out in the classroom read these highly recommended books. So if you have a book that you would recommend to the school, stop by my room. I have a book recommendation paper that you can fill out. You might get yourself on the announcements and have your book recommendation hung up in the hallway outside the gym. Thank you. Have a great day.
So like I said, once they knew they could be on the announcements, it took off, and I made sure after work today, I went around, we have, like the display that we have behind the board, we have about 3 of those up in the main hallway to our gym, and I counted over 250, close to 300, 250 reviews hanging, and about 40 that I just haven't had to get up, one of them being Connor's. One of the other pieces in building our cultural literacy at Evans was working just at Evans as a community. Obviously, we have the Scholastic Book Fairs. They're one of the biggest in the area, where we often use the Been Caught Reading tickets from Scholastic, where the students can put their name, their Been Caught Reading tickets in a box, and then they have an opportunity to win a book. We also have the Offer Books, which is used with the Scholastic money raised for classroom donations and charities. Over the years, we did different other reading incentives. We've done Words of the Week, where I would go on the announcements and do vocabulary words that we would post in the lobby. We tried that a couple years. I like to mix it up. It keeps me interested, and it also keeps the students interested. And we've also had numerous author visits over the years. I'd like to thank, with that being said, I'd like to thank Town Book Center. Again, we've networked with Town Book Center, which is the bookstore in the Wegman Shopping Center, Shop Local, Buy Indie. They are phenomenal. They work with us really closely, and as a matter of fact, the majority of our authors that I use through Town Book Center, Evans gets for free. All I have to do is make the arrangements with Mrs. Havrilla and schedule the assemblies. But we've had some really great authors. We used to have 1 a year. We're up to 2, sometimes 3 authors a year. Also working with our community, we had the Western Mont Tech Center students. They've come over as volunteer readers to read with our students. We did that in the fall, and it was very successful. We always encourage parents to come in. And another piece that we have is Evans Magnificent Mentors, which Mrs. Havrilla and Mrs. Weber, our IST teacher, they run this program where we have high school volunteers come down. They often do a lot of remediation and some maybe reading or math tutoring, but they've also read with our students. So it's great to have the high schoolers come down to the elementary level. And of course, I'd be remiss if I forgot to mention how we celebrate Seuss. Seuss's birthday, it used to be just March 2nd on Seuss's birthday, but it now has turned into a week-long Seuss-abration. The Cat in the Hat was going to come tonight, but Mrs. Havrilla didn't think that would be wise considering his behavior. This year, actually last year, we started, we actually had a bracket where the whole school voted, and we would pit one Seuss book against another one until we had a winner. That was a huge success, so much last year that we did it again this year. And that leads me to talk about our One Book, One School that we've been doing since 2010. This is, again, where we wanted to create that unity. We're a big school. And over the years, we've gone from 4 or 5, almost close to 600 students. So how do you make 600 students feel like a community? So we did the One Book, One School in 2010 with A Mouse Called Wolf. And what we actually did was get the book for each individual classroom teacher, and we set aside 4 weeks, and we would assign a chapter per day for the entire school, and we would provide different opportunities, different activity centers throughout the school, whether it would be a vocabulary hallway, a comprehension question hallway. and then we would have an assembly to celebrate the book. And that was a huge success. Like I said, last year we did more of the Seuss celebration where we read all the Seuss books. This year we did it a little differently. We tied in with our Reach for the Stars school theme, and we also, through our pro-social committee, have Unity Days, where we have the school participating in team building and unity activities. So we actually found picture books that we incorporated and had the school read on those days, and that happened to be Reach for the Stars and Only One You. One of the things that we did tie in with our One Book, One School was Family Reading Night, something that we started in 2010, and I know the district started last year their district literacy night. We are proud to say we've been doing Family Reading Night since 2010. What we've done there, we've had a different approach, different times. Sometimes we timed it in with our One Book, One School, and we would have activities based on that book. Other times we would just have pro-literacy activities. These are just some flyers from some events that we had in the past. We would invite our therapy dogs. This year's Family Reading Night, we had 10 therapy dogs in our gym. Huge hit. The kids came in for Family Reading Night, went straight to the gym to read with the dogs. We had one student bring his own book and said, "I'm here for the dogs. Where are they?" It was great. I'd like to invite Jacob Henson up again so he can talk a little bit about Family Reading Night.
Along with the book fairs, there is a family reading night where you can go to stations throughout the school to do different fun reading activities. This year, the stations were Create Your Own Rock, based on the story Only One You, and you could also create your own bookmark. There was also a station where you could write about your family's favorite book. Another activity we did was story time in the library with Mrs. Reagan Harris. The featured books were Only One You and Reach for the Stars. Finally, there was a station in the gym where you could pick a book and read to the dogs. I enjoyed Family Reading Night because there were a lot of activities that I had fun doing with my family.
Moving forward, next year, our school theme is Evans Elementary, where an idea can change the world. So we have 3 Unity Days planned, where we have what you do with an idea as one book, what you do with a problem, and what you do with a chance. These are awesome books. I brought them if anybody's interested to check these out. We're really excited about next year's school theme, and these will be our One Book, One School for next year. We're always looking for ideas. I'm not too proud. I will steal that vocabulary parade from Royersford Elementary. I thought that was awesome, so kudos to them, and I'm totally going to steal that idea. We'd like to increase just the actual surrounding community involvement. We already have Fire Prevention Day where we have our fire department at Evans. So why not just invite them into a classroom to share a book? Because I think that would be powerful for our students, along with Limerick Police Department. And of course, January, I do understand, is School Board Appreciation Month. We would be more than honored to have any school board member come in as a guest reader for our students. And that ends our presentation. I would just like to again thank 3 phenomenal students. We're very blessed. Evans Elementary has a great student population and a great family base. We wouldn't be who we are without our families. So I'd like again to acknowledge Alexa Henson, Jacob Henson, and Connor Russo.
Thank you, Mr. Raber. Are there any questions?
I just want to say you can put me down for that guest reader because I haven't been there in so long and I would love to come back. So
We'll write
put
you
me
down.
Okay.
Excellent presentation. It really was.
I can't believe it's been 10 years since we opened those doors. I had the privilege of actually opening Evans Elementary with Mrs. Havrilla 10 years ago, and
Me too.
the 4 years that I was there saw this program start to blossom, and the things that you've done since then and continue to do are just fabulous. I love that you continue to grow the programs, look for new opportunities for the kids, for the community, for the staff to get involved and read, because it is a lifelong skill that you're definitely teaching them early and will benefit them for many, many years. So thank you for that.
Ms. Savrilla, Mr. Raber, that was an excellent presentation. I can see that you are indeed raising a culture of readers, and the students out there are certainly learning how to read and enjoying reading, but I can see that they're also budding public speakers. So they did a very nice job. Thank you.
Thank you. And can we give Mr. Raber a round of applause as well?
Thank you. Oh, I didn't know this was on the agenda tonight. Yeah.
Gotta keep some secrets.
I can't believe, Taylor, it's been 2 years.
I know, it's been a great 2 years. It went really fast.
It did.
It did.
We're going to miss you.
Oh, I miss you guys too. It's been such a great experience, and I made like a new lifelong friend here. So, thanks to you guys.
Well, we always welcome you to come back to any board meeting that you'd like.
Absolutely.
You know, when you're on break or if it's a Monday night and you're bored and you want to come back and catch
There's
up.
definitely nothing else I'd rather be doing Monday nights twice a month.
And hey, if you can't make it back, you can just watch online.
Exactly. I could watch on RCTV. You know, lots of options.
But so I hope that was pleasurable. You had fun doing it.
Yes, it's again been a wonderful experience, and I can't thank you guys enough. It's been like an honor being here. So thank you.
Well, I do have something.
Oh, you should have. Aww.
On behalf of the board, I want to give you some parting gifts. So there's some fun.
Should I open it now or wait?
Oh, yeah, sure, open
it now?
Yeah.
Ooh, it looks like a mug. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, it's Jefferson. Who did this? Thank you. Thank you so much. This is awesome. I love it. These are beautiful. Yellow's my favorite color. How did you know? Thank you. Oh, there's more in here. Open it. I don't want. This is a really nice envelope. I don't want to rip it. I like this with wrapping paper too. Okay. Should I read it out loud? Okay. Till we meet again, goodbye. You'll be missed. Keep in touch. Ta-ta. Can I come too? Hopefully you can put this $100 gift card to good use at the Jefferson University bookstore. Taylor, it will be kind of gloomy without you. That's what happens when the sunshine goes away. The school board members. Best wishes as you enter this next phase of your life at Jefferson University. Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's so wonderful. That means a lot. Thank you.
Well, we really appreciate having you here with us for 2 years. It was a real pleasure. This is your opportunity to give your favorite board member story.
Oh, my favorite board member story.
I'm only kidding.
Oh, geez. There's too many. Probably those nights we were here like for 3 hours talking about the expansion. Not that I'm bringing that up again.
No, really don't.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
going to miss you guys. I really am. Thank you. Oh, I don't want to cry. We're going to have to keep getting Taco Bell.
Well, with every moment when we have a student rep leave us after 2 years, we take the opportunity and we bring in our next student rep that is eager to fill your seat, or one of the seats over there. So I want to introduce Juliana Lilly. Are you here this evening? So Juliana will be joining us in the June meeting or August? June meeting. So you'll be back in June, and we expect your first student report in detail with video, Facebook postings, some Twitter feedback. Other than that, no pressure. So welcome to the board table, and we look forward to seeing you in June. Okay. So let's jump right into board committee reports, and we don't want Taylor's last meeting to be a 3-hour meeting, so I encourage
Right,
board members to
definitely
go
not.
quickly.
No? Do we have the clicker somewhere, the little remote? It was, I see it, I got it. No, I don't see it, never mind. I'll figure it out. Oh, okay. Just kidding, we do see it. It has been located. There we go. All right, you got it. I'm handing it down to you. Oh, thank you. You got it. I should have. All right. Student report. Take it away, Nandini.
All right, so first we're going to start with the elementary schools. If you haven't known, the elementary schools, they've had their Olympic Day on May 25th, where some of the high schoolers that went to that school helped out, volunteered, and just have a great time with the kids. My sister was screaming for the next 2 days. She had so much fun. She wants that every day, and it was, I can imagine, like the face, like the smile on her face, she loved it. The grades went to field trips, so like Elmwood Zoo, Crystal Cave, the Reading Museum, and etc. And they also had the spring concerts, 4th grade spring concerts.
All right, middle school also had their spring concerts. They went on field trips to some super awesome places like Hershey Park and the Museum of American Revolution. Sounds thrilling. The art show was on May 23rd. That's really exciting because I know how much effort these students put into their pieces of art and how proud they are. So that's great that they got to show those off.
Next are the intermediate schools, which is 5 and 6. They also had their field trips to Mermaid Lake and Dorney Park. Also, they had their spring concerts, and the 8th grade formal was on June 1st. 7 and 8. Oh, 7 and 8, my bad. It's okay, I still love you. I know you do.
All right, high school decision day. It was May 1st in here in the cafeteria. It was packed because a lot of the senior class is moving on to bigger and better things, thriving out in the real world. Sounds horrifying. Impact awards were May 2nd. That was really cool. I did not impact anyone, unfortunately, just kind of slipped my mind. But a lot of students did, and they honored the Spring-Forward staff members that really made a difference in their life throughout their Spring-Forward career. So it seemed like a really nice time. A lot of people had a good time, so I've been told. AP exams. Lost way too much sleep over those. May 7th to May 18th. A lot of students are saying they feel really confident that they got some good scores, so that's great. Hopefully we'll get those results back soon. Senior Academic Recognition Banquet. That will be May 24th. That already happened?
Yeah, it happened last week.
It happened last week. Yeah, a lot of students were honored there as well, recognized. Yeah, that's quite a bit. It's an impressive number. What's next?
We just have some pictures from Decision Day. We try to get Juliana's family and also Mr. Fink's family in there.
And me. Don't forget me.
Sorry, and Taylor's.
Bottom left corner.
And then we have some pictures from the Impact Awards. Yeah, real stiffy. And then we also have, oh, no, I skipped it.
Wow.
Okay, we also have, so summer music lessons, sorry. So Spring-Forward students are currently enrolled in grades 4 to 12 are invited to participate in the 5-week summer program, band lesson program. This program offers one-on-one music lessons on band instruments on a first-come, first-served basis. So it'll begin on June 26th and will end on July 26th. The registration deadline is on June 1st, so hurry up and get to the Spring-Forward website if you want to get on that. And we also have some videos from the Irish Exchange program. So
All right, that concludes our student report.
And before we conclude, I just wanted to note this is the last time I'll be making this report with Taylor. And thank you for you being my colleague. You have taught me so much. Like literally, this girl is my role model. She's influenced me and she's taught me so many great things that I would have, oh my God, I'm gonna cry, what the heck? And then, okay. And I'm so excited to start making reports and just being great friends with Juliana starting next month. And starting now. Are you kidding? So thank you, and I will miss you so much.
Well, that was a really good report. So that's a great job. Did you guys? You didn't make the video, did you? You pull
No,
that?
we were given the video this week by Dr. Nugent. Right?
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good reporting. You went out and got it, got the story, got the video,
Got
right?
the scoop.
Got the scoop. No, that's a good job. Really good. Great job. So thank you. Did you mention when commencement is?
I don't think so, but June 13th, be there, be square. I'm gonna have a very long night. Like 660 kids, you know.
Just a few more than last
Yeah,
year.
just a little bit, like 160 more, but it's fine. It'll be a good time.
It
worth
will
it.
be.
It'll be worth it.
And no rain.
No, hopefully not. Fingers crossed.
Okay, thank you. Curriculum and technology, Ms. Heaney.
I'm going to pass that report over to Mrs. Vizzini since I
that's
was
me.
not at the meeting.
Mr. Bruce Cope presented a very nice PowerPoint about the World Language Department. The highlights were we offer French and Spanish, grades 7 through 12, German, grades 9 through 12, and a Mandarin Chinese program, grades 10 to 12, which is a virtual course that's been offered since 2012. And he talked about how AP has changed the way language is taught so that it's much more proficiency-based, more about speaking, listening, and conversing than it used to be taught more about memorization and conjugation, and it's away from that. So it's actually, I think, a lot better, and I think he agrees. And I think the whole department likes that, and I definitely know the students learn the language better by the time they're in college because of that. Let's see. So there were some updates then about ELA, math. Literacy night was 5/8 at 6:30. That's come and gone. Pre-K screenings were held. The pre-K program will run from 6:25 to 7:26 at Brook. Let's see what else. Math curriculum review has begun. CPM teachers visit Lower Merion to learn more about the program and see it in action, and that was very well received. And additional training will take place in that. That's about it. Technology, the time and attendance project is up to date and all on schedule, so it should be finished on time. There were no issues. The network infrastructure project is also up to date, on schedule, and will finish on time with no issues. Mr. Catalano, Mrs. Bass, Dr. Nugent, and Dr. Weisenbach visited Souderton to learn more about their one-to-one project, and they'll continue to visit other schools as needed to look into that. And I think that's it. Mr. Catalano and Mrs. Bass are also working with principals in May to confirm tech needs for next year to ensure integration of curriculum and technology, and modernized learning dates are confirmed, and the planning continues.
Great, thank you. Any questions? All right, Western Center.
Okay, I'm going to do that report tonight for Dr. Dressler since he's not here. We met on May 7th, and I have notes here from the Administrative Director of the Western Center. The NOCD testing, regarding that, the Western Center scored an overall 90% competency with advanced, and advanced with 69% of the students scoring advanced overall. So that's really great. The enrollment currently, and this was as of May 7th for 18-19, there are 587 students registered. So those numbers are up. Currently, there were only, well, at that time, there were only 27 seats available in level 1 for next year. Filled programs are auto tech, carpentry, commercial art, cosmetology, diesel tech, early childhood, electrical, intro to med, health science tech, and sports medicine. At that time, as I said, in early May, there were still a few vacancies in collision computer info systems, culinary, dental, HVAC, metal tech, and protective services. There are 85 freshmen. From Springford, there were 49, so that number are good. Regarding summer camp, there were 100, at that time, there were 116 campers enrolled. The car show did take place. They finally had some nice weather. There were 70 cars that showed up for the event, and the Skills USA was able to raise over $600. And finally, there was a sports medicine forum, also on May 7th. It was hosted statewide for sports medicine, set up by Mr. Morrison and run by Grant Greisler, who is the sports meds instructor. The focus was on preparing for sports med to become a program of study by PDE and work toward getting the NOCD approval that's needed. Over 20 people from the state came to learn about our program, tour the facility, and learn how to enhance or create their own programs in their own facilities. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Legislative Committee, Ms. Mountain.
Again, just last week I mentioned that Senate Bill 2 was with the Senate Committee on Education. They did take a vote last Tuesday, the 22nd, and it did pass, so it is on currently on the agenda or calendar for June 4th, which is when Senate returns. They may vote on it on the 4th. They may vote on it on the 5th. They may bypass it day after day. We don't know. It's really important to reiterate that Senate Bill 2 is the bill focused on charter schools and the vouchers. So again, this is something that really is going to direct dollars from our Springford students to the charter schools, where we have no oversight as to the academic or financial operations of these facilities. These vouchers will be available to students who are enrolled in a lower 15% school or who are entering kindergarten or first grade. Now, the language in the bill has changed a few times, so it keeps kind of going back and forth, but that's the last read of it. So that's any student entering any kindergarten or any first grade would be eligible for vouchers. It will impact Springford. It will impact every district within the Commonwealth. So this is an area where the dollars that are so needed from the state to support our students and to support our programming here within our home district are now going to be redirected, and those dollars can be used for private education as well as charter schools. So at this point, I'm pleading to the community to please reach out to Senator John Rafferty. He does represent the entire Springford School District. Please let him know that we're opposed to the passing of Senate Bill 2. As a district, we do have a resolution on the agenda for later this evening, and certainly hope that we'll be able to pass that as well from a board perspective and in representing the district. But the senators our legislators, all of our legislators are going to hear the voters much more clearly than they're going to hear the school board and the school resolution. So please just take a moment, reach out to Senator Rafferty to express your opposition. A couple other quick items. Senate Bill 1136 is passed the Senate on April 25th, and that's going to allow districts to enter into agreements with local police departments. This is really focused on security. Currently, we've only been able to enter into arrangements with our local police departments for full-time staffing. This bill will allow part-time police coverage as well for our district. So that does give us a little bit more flexibility as well for security and safety coverage. House Bill 564, Civics Education Assessment. This is for U.S. history, government, and civics. It's a test that would be required, or an assessment that would be required once during the 7th through 12th grade. That did pass the House on 416 and will be moving forward. The only other item that I think is school safety. Conversations continue. At this point, it's been recognized that every district is going to have different needs, and so there's an effort to try to figure out how to get around that and how to work through that. There are also two bills that are being looked at right now, Senate Bill 660 as well as Senate Bill 1095, and they're focused on graduation requirements. Again, something we want to keep our eyes on in terms of whether or not we're going to be looking at keystones or alternative assessment testing. So it's hasn't pushed too far forward, but something that we want to keep our eye on. And then, of course, there's the property tax credit bill, which I mentioned last month. There hasn't been any additional movement on that, and that was referred to the House on Aging and Older Adult Services Committee. And basically that would give legal authority to the school districts to provide property tax relief for senior volunteers. So again, only if those seniors volunteer within our district, we then would have the ability to make adjustments. But again, something to keep our eye on. Certainly we have a number of folks within our community who struggle with the tax payments, and so it's something that could benefit us all around. And then I just wanted to note, there is a school funding lawsuit. It is 6 school districts who are arguing that the funding formula that has been implemented by the state of Pennsylvania is not fair. They have named the House and Senate leaders, Secretary of Education, Department of Education, State Board of Education, and the governor in this suit. For all intent purposes, they're saying that the current method of funding has resulted in significant disparities that discriminate against students in districts with low incomes and low property values. So this is something that last week the Commonwealth Court overruled the defendant's claim that the plaintiff had not shown that funding scheme caused injury. In other words, they're getting less and less year over year. And that seems to be putting these lower income districts at more and more of a risk. And so, again, it's just something that's pushing for the funding formula within the state of Pennsylvania to be reevaluated.
Any questions? One of the things, Mr. Fitzgerald, maybe you're aware too, that there's the enhancements that are being made or new additions or new rewrite of the school code.
Well, there are a number pending out there, and that would be tied to whatever budget would be approved next month. So in terms of what modifications we see, we're seeing it'll be safety areas in particular. And usually it's in the final days before the budget is passed that we actually say, oh, here's a modification to the school code. A perfect example last year was Act 55, the economic furlough language, which nobody was thinking was actually going to be part of it, was a part of it, and now is something that we all have to deal with on a year-to-year basis.
Yeah, so one of the things that potentially is going on this year is that some of these bills that might not have got full support on the floor, they're pushing into the school code and updates.
Yeah, so the bill is required to have passed one of the House,
Right,
on one side. So if the bill did pass on the House,
Right.
it can be included in the revisions for school code for the upcoming year. So
Right,
that are released with budget.
There's many bills that have passed one side.
Correct.
But not the other side, that they're looking at possibly shoehorning into the school code. So we have to watch that as well.
Yeah, and they're going to take a bill that currently has passed both sides, something like the sunscreen bill that you're allowed to apply sunscreens to students without a note from the doctor. That will kind of serve as the basis because that has passed, and then they'll tag on additional pieces that have passed both houses in order to.
Mr. DeBello, I might as well add to this conversation with part of my report because this kind of is consistent with what we're discussing. Not only school code modifications, which I've noted, we're still waiting on regulations from the Department of Education as it relates to medical marijuana issues in schools. There had been guidance from the Department of Health. So that's waiting. We just had the recent decision in Boyertown, which now creates binding case law in the circuit So it clarifies that issue. And then next month, we're going to get a Supreme Court decision on the Janus matter, which will forever change labor relations. So it's not only active in Harrisburg, it's active from the judiciary as well.
Right. Is that all your full report then?
Add that to my report.
Do you have anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. Well, thank you for, yeah, I like that. All right. Well, the IU, we met last Wednesday, and, a major portion of the meeting was dedicated to recognizing the retirees for 2017 or 2018. And then the other part of the meeting was we talked about a lot of what Christina just gave an update on regarding the bills and the things that movement on in Harrisburg, and that's why I brought up because that was conversation regarding the school code and what changes potentially is going to get slipped in as well. So it's going to be potentially an interesting June. The rumor on the street is that they are going to have a budget on time. But that's because it's election year and the governor's races. So I think they're all going to just get a bill. But there's two sides here. One is saying that they're still looking at about a $3 billion deficit, and there's some saying that no, it's not that bad. It's less than $2 billion. But the state still has significant problems. I don't see many changes happening this year related to school funding, but I think next year, again, we need to be prepared that we may see some cutbacks or some changes as far as the way the funding is going to be allocated to the schools. And at the federal level, we did talk about that also regarding the labor ruling that's going to come out within the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I think they're saying next couple of days, actually.
I just, from our perspective, at least from the legal side of it, you have the fair funding case, which includes a number. William Penn is, I think, the leading plaintiff in that. You have another proposed funding formula. So where we are going to be a year from now in terms of the case that's in the Commonwealth Court right now will likely make it back up to the Supreme Court, where a district like William Penn will have I think they'll have a Supreme Court that'll be willing to hear their argument.
Right.
Yeah, and they've just been given 180 days for additional discovery, for both sides, for additional discovery. So there were certain elements that were, where they ruled against the defendants. However, they kind of said, but we'll give you time to see if you can collect information that might sway our opinion. So they have 180 days.
And the recent, as you brought up too, the recent decision related to the Boyertown case, I think we need to look very seriously at that ruling and start determining what the future may hold as far as where we go as a district as well. Okay.
Did that ruling effectively give boards the right to pass that policy? I thought that's what the ruling was.
Well, it upheld they had candidly, not necessarily a written board policy in Boyertown. They had a process by which they were going to accommodate. So it was challenged on that, case-by-case basis. There are still probably only a handful of districts in the region that actually have a written board policy. I'm not so sure that the decision necessarily mandates board policies per se, so much as moving forwards, districts in the Third Circuit will have to read that case first before they decide one way or the other.
I was just going to say that, we need to understand the case because it goes beyond board policy. We really need to understand that case, and then we need to make a determination on what that means to us.
Yeah, and my understanding is the ruling is that Boyertown can continue to implement their policy. That was the ruling, so it wasn't it was at a higher level in a sense.
Yeah, it wasn't really a right that the student had the right, but the board had the right to implement a policy.
Yes, again, but they did not have a set board policy on the issue. But yes, they had recognized, a majority of the board recognized that that's what they were doing in Boyertown, and they were okay with that process.
Again, we need to understand the ruling because they didn't have a formal policy in place and decisions were made.
I
So-
would not be surprised, and we talked about this 6-8 months ago.
Right.
I would not be surprised if PSBA dips their toes in the water toward a policy at this point in light of this. Now, listen, the plaintiffs in that matter can certainly seek an appeal of to the U.S. Supreme Court. They've been, you know, they haven't had victory at any level at this point, so I'm not so sure even the Supreme Court would grant cert, but that is something that they could always do.
The last case that went, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last case that went in front of the court, the ruling was that they didn't provide enough evidence to support their claims.
That was a case out of Virginia. It was in
No, in Pennsylvania, the first case.
Well, there's been a number of cases. There was a case out of Pine Richland. There was a case out of Johnstown. But at this point, we now have our binding guidance. There was a case that was going to go to the Supreme Court, but actually the court then determined the matter was moot because the student in that instance had graduated. So they decided not to hear the decision on the merits. This would be a decision on the merits if it were to go.
So, okay, thank you. Personnel.
No report, no meetings, no report.
Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Bella. Need to remind the board and the community that on the 13th of June, we'll be holding our commencement activities here at the high school. And so traffic will be congested. And we will also be providing shuttle service from the intermediate school for graduation that evening. And so while we'll have parking here, some of our parking has been taken up with some of our construction fencing that we're putting up. And so we will be providing a shuttle, but we do have graduation on the 13th of June, rain or shine. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We already did solicitor's report. Meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
No move.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Personnel, A through N. You have an addendum in front of you that was added to the agenda.
Separate K?
Separate K. Okay. Do I have a motion A through N, not including K?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do I have a motion for K?
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any comment?
Yeah, the comment I have is pretty much the same thing I said last week, that I think we should focus on our resources with putting armed security in the buildings rather than spending it on a position like this at this time. We have limited resources, and I think we should move in that direction. It's very important that we do have armed security at all our schools, which we don't today. And to give you an example, about 6-7 years ago, we had, there was a school board somewhere in the country where somebody came with a gun, and what we did after that meeting is we had an armed school security person at their board meetings for months. So I think if it's important enough to have an armed security when we see threats for the school board, we should do the same for our students.
Dr. Gooden, the position that Mr. Dent's referring to, that person is also responsible for providing security in the school, correct?
Yes.
But not the elementary schools, not the middle school.
Dr. Gooden, the plan with the security is for have him roaming throughout the district.
That's correct. We proposed 2 individuals in this year's budget. One is the coordinator position, which will also be an officer, but will have administrative duties broader than just being an officer. And then the other one, our plan is to have that individual working the circuit and rotating through the schools.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Finance, A through P.
Separate L?
Separate what? L. Do I have a motion A through P excluding L?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm trying to get to L here. Do I have a motion for L? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comment?
Sorry, I believe that we may need to change the dates that are listed here. So I don't know if we need to change that on this before we vote on it. Mr.
Yeah,
Fitzgerald?
last week there was discussion about our timeline, and I had some concern as the presentation was going on in terms of the window that needs to occur from the date of the adoption of the proposed final budget to the adoption of the final budget. There was a memo, I believe, shared from Mr. Fink's office to the board. Admittedly, the school code is muddled as relates to whether presentation of the board starts the 30-day clock or its approval by this body that starts the 30-day clock. I took score within our department and frankly what we've done here, and I don't know of a district that hasn't started their 30-day clock until the board has taken action on the proposed final budget. Therefore, in doing the arithmetic, it looks like our first day that we can approve it, the earliest date would be June 28th, using today as the approval of the proposed final budget. That is the cleanest way to do it. I agree with Mr. Fink that it's muddled the language and possibly you could do it at your regular meeting, but I want to avoid an audit. So I'd rather we do it when we can cleanly do it, and that's the 28th.
So what would happen if there was an audit? What would be the?
Well, I think we're in la land in terms of what could. I don't think it would happen, but you know, I'm paid to worry, so I'm worrying for you guys. The one thing that I would have concern about is if PDE would reject our budget. That could always occur because we have to issue the 2028 form upon finalizing the budget, which documents when we approve the proposed final budget and when we approve the budget. I don't know what occurs in Harrisburg, but I guess somebody could review it and say those dates don't align to 30 days and they could reject our budget. Then we're in a whole world of hurt. We can cure it by doing it on the 28th. It's an easy cure under the circumstances.
So can we modify the motion to say June 28th, 2018 and change that to 30 days?
Okay.
So they need to make a motion to approve the adjustment, or could we just?
The motion will stand with the noted adjustments in terms of the date that we will take action on the final budget and the 30-day window.
Okay, any other comment?
Yeah, I oppose the budget because we're not addressing school security in all our schools.
Any other comment? I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Property A through F.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Programming curriculum A through C.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Conferences and workshops A through C. E, I'm sorry.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Other business A, B, and D.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any board comment? Public to be heard.
All right, I'm going to try to multitask here. So my name is Zach Lurie. I'm a resident of Limerick, but I'm actually here in my capacity as the SFEA president. SFEA is the Spring-Ford Education Association. Put that down. And we're members of the Pennsylvania State Education Association, PSEA. Our main goal is to advance public schools. And I'm happy to donate some books to the district today. PSEA, the Mideast region, had an author, Michael Hall, at the office recently, and he donated copies of the books, one per each of the elementary schools. So I'm happy to donate these.
Thank you, Zach.
Any other comment? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All approved, agree, say aye. Aye, meeting adjourned.
We have enough people that will be available so that we can vote and pass the budget?
Well, I'm assuming that people would have spoke up if they're not going to be here the 28th.
Just making sure.
I may not be here the 28th. It's
Yeah.
not definite yet.
I actually am at the beach, but I can Skype, call in.
I would be able to call in if I wasn't here.
Board Policy 006 allows for telephonic Skype communication, though yes, I think we've done Skype once, so long as a majority of you are still present here physically. So we would need 5 present to the extent others are away.
Well, the 28th, I will be away at a conference. Do a roll call. See-
Dr.
Okay, will you be here the 28th? Will you be here the 28th? So that's a no. Will you be here the 28th?
Unlikely.
I will not.
will.
Okay, well,
Dr. Dressler will not be here.
I know Dr.
He's
Dressler is
out
still
of, he's out of
away.
the country, yeah.
So we will not have a quorum.
We will not.
We will not. We still won't have a quorum. No, we won't.
Just need 5 here.
We need 5 here.
Everybody else can call in.
Oh, okay.
You'd have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd have 5. Mark, I believe Dawn, Byrne, Christina, and Linda would be.
Okay. So we'll have the meeting June 28th. And for those of that can call in, we'll call in. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Alrighty then, now. the
I
motion-
just a note for Ms. Fern, we should advertise this as a special and regular meeting for Thursday, June 28th. Well, because we are deviating from our standard regular, I prefer if we scheduled both as a special and regular meeting for those purposes.
What, is it extra special or just a special?
On June 28th, it's going to be extra special.
All right, June 28th it is, our regular meeting time, 7:30. Do I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned again.